illegally monopolizing the selling of tickets for concerts.
A lot of people are tired about paying big money to see their favorite artist.
Ticketmaster will have to cap its service
Ticket
fees.
prices are soaring, and so is frustration.
We're going for resale on stuff for like...
You bought an $89 ticket, but when you reached the checkout, it was $137. You didn't question it, you just paid. Because everyone pays it. Because there's nowhere else to go. That $48 difference, it didn't go to the artist, it didn't go to the venue, it went to a machine. A machine that decided a long time ago that it didn't want to sell you a ticket. It wanted to own the only door you could walk through to get one. That machine has a name. It controls over 80% of major concert ticketing in America. It holds exclusive deals with 265 venues. It manages more than 400 of the biggest artists on the planet. And in 2026, a federal jury finally called it what it is, a monopoly. This is not a story about concert fees. This is a story about power, about what happens when one company quietly takes control of every single layer between an artist and a fan, and how they did it without most people ever noticing. Why did the fee exist in the first place? When you buy a ticket on Ticketmaster, the fee you pay isn't random, it's engineered. According to the FTC, from 2019 to 2024 alone, Ticketmaster collected $16.4 billion in mandatory fees. $16.4 billion in fees in 5 years. The average Ticketmaster fee load, 27 to 44% on top of the face value. So that $89 ticket, you're not just paying for music, you're paying for the machine. And here's what makes it darker. In 2025, new fee disclosure rules forced Ticketmaster to be more transparent. So what did they do? They eliminated some fees and quietly raised others. The machine doesn't disappear, it adapts. They call it all-in pricing now, but it's just a shell game. Instead of a surprise at checkout, you get the sticker shock up front. The total doesn't drop, your wallet still takes the hit, and then there's dynamic pricing. That's where the algorithm takes over. If a show is hot, Ticketmaster spikes the price in real time. That 89 ticket, it can balloon to 300 instantly because of demand. How did Ticketmaster become the only door? It started in 1976. A small ticketing software company, nothing special. But in 1982, a man named Fred Rosen became CEO. And Rosen wasn't interested in selling tickets. He was interested in owning the door. His move was simple and devastating. He went to venues and made them an offer. Give us your exclusive ticketing rights and we'll cut you in on the fees. Venues said yes. Overnight, those fees didn't creep up, they doubled. And from that moment, a new model was born. Ticketmaster collects the fees. The venue takes a cut. Everyone profits. Except the fans standing at the checkout. The venues aren't victims of this system. They're partners in it. The fees you hate, they get a cut of those too. Pivot to the merger. Why didn't the 2010 merger stop this? In 2010, Live Nation, the world's largest concert promoter, merged with Ticketmaster. The Department of Justice had concerns. They approved the deal, with conditions. Ticketmaster could not retaliate against venues that chose a different ticket seller. It was supposed to be a guardrail. It didn't work. Because what emerged from that merger wasn't just a bigger company. It was a vertical monopoly. Live Nation promotes the concert. Live Nation owns or operates the venue. Live Nation manages the artist. Ticketmaster Live Nation subsidiary sells every ticket. One company, every layer of the chain. From the moment an artist books a tour to the moment you scan your ticket at the gate, Live Nation is there. And if you're a venue that tries to use a different ticket seller, the DOJ lawsuit alleged that Live Nation responded with retaliation using long-term contracts of 5 to 7 years to lock venues in and blocking them from working with competitors. Live Nation controls over 80% of major concert venue primary ticketing in the US. It holds exclusive arrangements with 265 concert venues. It manages more than 400 major artists. That's not a business, that is a gatekeeper. And by the time most people noticed, the machine was already everywhere. Why did the Taylor Swift disaster expose the machine, not just a broken website? November 2022, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. 3.5 million registered fans logged on. The platform received 3.5 billion total requests, and Ticketmaster collapsed. Queues froze. Fans were ejected mid-purchase. People waited hours and got nothing. Taylor Swift herself said, "We asked them multiple times if they could handle this. We were assured they could." The headlines called it a website crash. Congressional hearings followed. Outrage, bills, investigations. But here's what most people missed. The scandal wasn't that Ticketmaster's site broke. The scandal was what happened when it broke. Fans didn't switch to another platform. They couldn't. There was no other platform. Ticketmaster had already locked up the venues, locked up the artists, locked up the market. So when the machine failed, fans had nowhere to go. Think about any other business. If a grocery store locks its doors, you go down the street. If an airline strands you, you book a different carrier. But if you wanted to see the biggest tour on earth, you either bent the knee to Ticketmaster or you stayed home. That's not a technical failure. That's what a monopoly looks like when it cracks. If the jury found liability, why are prices not falling tomorrow? In May 2024, the Department of Justice, joined by 39 state attorneys general, filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The opening statement from the DOJ attorney was 4 words: "The concert industry is broken." Live Nation's defense: "We do not have monopoly power." 6 weeks of trial followed. On the 15th of April 2026, a federal jury returned its verdict. Live Nation and Ticketmaster were found liable on every antitrust count submitted: monopolization of primary ticketing markets, illegal bundling of promotion and venues, anti-competitive conduct that harmed competition across 34 states. The jury found that in 22 of those states, fans had been overcharged by approximately $1.72 per ticket. Not a massive number per ticket, but across hundreds of millions of tickets, it adds up fast. Now here's the part that matters most for anyone watching this. The verdict does not mean ticket prices drop tomorrow. It doesn't even mean they drop next year. This is a civil antitrust case. The jury decided liability. The judge still has to decide remedies. State attorneys general are now asking for structural remedies, including a possible forced sale of Ticketmaster from Live Nation. There are post-trial motions pending. Live Nation has vowed to appeal. Legal experts say the final outcome could take years. And here's what makes it darker. While the lawyers argue over what happens next, Ticketmaster is still processing your tickets, still collecting the fees, still operating the gate. The machine didn't stop running because a jury spoke. It keeps running while the courts decide whether anyone can actually shut it down. So what does this all mean for you? Ticketmaster isn't just a ticket company. It is infrastructure, it is leverage, it is a toll booth on an industry. And like every great monopoly story, it didn't happen overnight. It happened deal by deal, contract by contract, venue by venue, until one company sat at the center of everything. The story of Ticketmaster is not really about concert fees. It's about what happens when one company is allowed to control access to artists, to venues, to fans. And the lesson for anyone in business, in investing, or just watching how markets work is this: the most powerful position in any industry is never the product, it's the gate. Whoever controls the gate controls everything. Ticketmaster knew that in 1982, and it built an empire around it. A jury has now called it what it is. The DOJ is pushing for structural reform. Change is coming slowly, but the machine is still running. And the next time you see that checkout screen with the service fee, the facility fee, the order processing fee, Ticketmaster didn't just sell tickets. It built the toll booth between fans and live music. Every time you click checkout, you're not just buying a seat, you're paying the gatekeeper. If this video made you see the concert industry differently, subscribe, because this is just one gate. Next week we will go inside another one.